Our next call is from New York City. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Krishna, I'm a senior professor of business at leading business school. I teach present value accounting. I wrote the authoritative cases with two other people on bank accounting. I assure you, Lehman is a midget. It's a de minimis problem. It's $10-20 billion. As you know and I know, you've got Royal Bank of Scotland. Its liabilities are $100-200 billion. So is the Union Bank of Switzerland. But I'll give you what I think the real debt problem is, because I teach the president's class. Take a look at this China. You've lost 65, and I want to do this again. You've lost 65% of the stock value of Chinese stocks. They started to hype all these companies that had no profits, and you could go down to zero. Now, that's not the real problem, because that's a loss to pension funds and to the Chinese. But they borrowed almost $2 trillion from major banks, and they're not going to be able to pay it back. So worrying about Lehman and $10 billion or $20 billion is wasting press time. So thank you very much for listening to my position, and have a great day.
How many years have you been teaching, caller?
I'll give you an idea. My first year of teaching, I had a student called George Bush Jr. How long ago is that? Early 70s.
How was he in the classroom?
Well, you know, we pass everybody with a B.
Okay.
I'll just give you one other observation of 30 years of teaching to Krishna. I'll give you a rule I have, and you check it out. Every time oil doubles or triples, housing drops 50% within 36 months. So, you know, I recommend it to Canadian and Japanese banks. As soon as oil hit $50, I said, do not invest in any real estate. They all argue with me and so on. But if you want to know what causes the housing crash, you go back to George Bush Sr., right? Do you remember the real estate situation, selling the real estate at courthouses? The first thing he did was he went to the Iraq War, $40, $50 oil, 36 months later.
Thanks for coming. I'm going to stop you there. Appreciate your call and your points and your insight. We'll get a response.
Yeah, just a couple of quick responses. Very interesting call. First up, the reason why we worry about Lehman isn't the size of the firm. It's the fact that these investment banks are so intertwined with each other and the wider financial system that if one falls, it can cause domino effects elsewhere. The reference to the Chinese stock market, very interesting. It's indeed absolutely true. There's been a lot of lost value there. Loss of equity value in China is not necessarily too important for the global financial system. It's not that important for the Chinese economy that funds mostly through the banking system. But to the extent that any of its companies get in trouble on their loans, that would, of course, be an additional problem